Western Michigan. And we welcome those of you who are joining us for Mountain West football's Air Force is about to kick it off to Morgan State. It's the Falcons and the Bears. As everybody is on their feet here at Falcon Stadium. Ricky Fisk is back deep, one of the two return men for Morgan State. And we are underway here in the Springs, and that'll head way out of the end zone. Morgan State, under center for them is Moses Skillen. He is a big boy, said.
He is a big kid, 6'5", 230, very, very talented. You see the good numbers on the season last year. Was rotating time and then won that job, took it over. Partly because of this big-time performance here. Delaware State threw 5 touchdowns, led them to the playoffs. I mean, had a tremendous season for the Bears a year ago.
There's the senior from Florida. You see his numbers from last season. Not a vocal guy, but his coach, Lee Holt, says, you know what, he's calm and he's confident under center. And the Bears will start out from the 25. And already a flag before a snap here on the first play.
Full start. Offense, number 7. First down.
So already a tricky start for the Bears. Time now for the Quicken Loans players to watch.
And it's for the Bears. You're talking about defensively for Air Force Academy. Weston Stillhammer, first team All Mountain West a year ago. Connor Healy, the leader of that defense, tackling machine. And Andrew King, a guy that they'll look to go to in big-time situations for the Bears to get first downs and move the chains.
And they're going to run it to the right side. Not much for Orlando Johnson, who pulls the start at running back.
Really good job of playing off the edge. Onich does a good job of getting outside, bringing him down. Doesn't give up leverage to the outside.
As a look at Skillen, it's going to bring up a 2nd and 14 after the flag and that run.
And you look for this team, and you see the secondary from Air Force Academy, close proximity to the receivers. This team loves to throw the bubble screens and the quick passes, and they're trying to take that away by being close.
See if they do that on 2nd down. You see the 3 receivers at the top of your screen, one at the bottom. Skillen rolls that way, throws, and had a receiver, Andrew King, but overthrows him.
This is really good coverage here in defense. They're stringing everything out, forcing it wide. The flat player wants to run that route, but you've got a player in the flat. You're not going to be able to outflank him once you get out there. So there's no levels, and look at everybody's covered. Look at all the blue shirts underneath just 2 receivers. You got to come out with something a little bit better.
So here the Bears looking at a 3rd, and we'll call it 15 on their first drive. Skillen who bark out the signals. Orlando Johnson to his left.
Man-to-man on this right side here on the bottom.
Unloads it as a receiver, and that's caught by Ricky Fisk.
It's a great job of running the option route to depth. You know you needed to get enough for the first down. Stillhammer tries to undercut it, can't get there. But you're going to watch him stick the foot in the ground and plant and get out. It's an exceptional job on the route by Fisk. Good throw, but look up front with these freshmen. They're coming off, paying attention. It's a really good job of working in unison by that offensive line.
17 yards on that 3rd down play, so a first for the Bears. And it looks like we have some more movement. We expected that said, you got young players.
Offense, number 75, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Let's tell you a little bit about Morgan State's coach. There's Lee Hole in his 2nd season out of Holy Cross last year, first winning season in the MEAC for the Morgan State Bears. He's a guy that's been at Maryland, Oregon State, and Holy Cross his alma mater. And Skillen's going to keep it and gain some yards on first down, trying to get more, and yep, he got it back after the penalty.
And so that's something you don't expect from him, but it's primarily they want to run the zone, and then they'll call a key for him. It's not as much a read as you see for the Air Force Academy. However, he can go and get you positive yards if you're going to open that lane up for him.
Skillen went 3-2 as a starter last year and got the team into the FCS playoffs. They lost in the first round to Richmond. 2nd and 6. And Skillen's going to keep it again and pick up a couple of yards on 2nd down. Went the other way.
Skillen is the ball carrier. Hit first by Alex Hansen.
Just kind of wondering, said, how much he would carry it with Herb Walker not eligible to play today.
Well, they're going to try and take the running game away. However, he's not going to be able to take that kind of punishment for the whole afternoon. Tell you what, he turned up in there, and Hansen laid a shot on him. And you got your quarterback who can throw it. You can let that guy play his game. Keep him out of harm's way. If he goes down, it's going to be ugly.
So they had a third and long. Now it's a 3rd and 2. There's Fisk in motion. And they'll pitch it to Fisk. Trying to get around the edge. Kenny, he is run out, and that is not going to work for the Bears.
That's great defense, sideline to sideline. Onechi, Steelhammer, all those guys out there in the proper spot. You don't get sucked up and inside, and this is what happens when your line continues to string it. Look at the hands right there by Big Hansen. He's able to just string it out wide, and let Onechi as well as Steelhammer, the strong safety, come off, and that's a great play on the sideline.
So the Bears are going to have to punt after their first possession. There's Chris Moeller, their kicker, with Garrett Brown back deep for the Falcons. And a flag on the play. Kick is going to be fair caught. Let's see what the flag is here on the punt. So Garrett Brown ends up with the fair catch at about the 29.
Offense. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the kick. First down, Air Force.
So Air Force is going to take over on offense, and they'll have the junior under center set, Nate Romine.
Seems like he's been around forever, but he's a kid that fully understands what they want to do offensively. You see the passing numbers don't look that great, but he can run the ball when he has to. He's good decision maker out of the backfield, and biggest game of his life came last year when they upset the number 21 ranked CSU Rams and put a kibosh on their big bowl game bid.
Here's the first play of 2015 for Romine and the Falcons. Their offense, which is run first. And they're going to hand it right up the middle to the fullback. And we knew they were going to go up the middle with a big run.
And DJ Johnson, I tell you, these guys run the ball with reckless abandon. And this is a counter trap here. They come back, and all the action in the backfield is getting those linebackers moving a bunch of different directions.
Quick snap, and they've got the first down as they're able to move it again quickly up to midfield.
And that's Jacoby Owens.
Let's get you the Quicken Loans players to watch with the Falcons. On offense, we see Owens come in.
Absolutely, it's good to see him in the game, and we talked about DJ Johnson, the fullback in there, Shane Davern. Those two guys are going to have a big impact. Peterson Javier is going to have to help this team get in the backfield, trying to get some stops for the Bears if they want to contain the Falcons offensively.
I think there's some movement there on the Falcons.
Offside. Defense, number 95, in the neutral zone, causing the offense to react. It's a 5-yard penalty, still first down.
As you get a look, we take our time on this. DJ Johnson and Shane Davern, two fullbacks, 843 yards between them. This spearheads this offense. If you can get the two guys in the middle going, it's going to be tough for the Bears. Peterson Javier is going to have to get some tackles for loss in the backfield. Third on the team in tackles to help this team slow down the Falcons offense.
So now on a 1st and 5, it's DJ Johnson, and he has the first down.
And right now, it's not looking good. No. Not looking good, because DJ Johnson running through some gaping holes, that offensive line. I tell you what, they might not be the biggest, but when you talk about technique strong, look no further than the Air Force Academy offensive line year in and year out.
Well, the Bears was down. Here's number 7 who's going to come off.
Man, this is not a good start for the Bears. 4 penalties early on.
And Damari Whitaker comes off to the sidelines.
Killing themselves mistakes, penalties. Can't go on the road to a good football team and have these type of mistakes early in the game.
First down for the Bears, 38. Romine under center. And it's Johnson again. Right side, just running over people almost down to the 30. Javier got in the way to at least bring him down.
And we knew they'd meet. Some point at some juncture, and right here,
there it is.
He gets him down. However, that guy's got about 30 yards rushing on like 4 carries. I don't know if you want to get up and talk smack to him, Javier.
2nd and 3. They reset the play. Here are the Falcons. Romine's going to keep it around the left side. Has a little bit of an area, but got tripped up. Does get the first down to the 25.
Really good job of running the option. And you see the good quick read. Johnson leading up. Doesn't get enough of the defender, Cravon Rogers. He gets just enough of the ankle.
Good job by Rogers. Yeah,
it's a great effort to fight off the block as well.
New set of downs for the Falcons. First pass, Romine looking deep. Has a receiver wide open. And a touchdown for Air Force. Robinette is the big hitter and the first guy that Romine goes to of this season.
You knew it was coming. Watch these guys suck up inside. And he doesn't even stock block. He just takes off and runs. That's how much they fear this running attack. There's no stock block on his part or nothing. He just takes off right down the center, runs a skinny post route, and it is about as easy as it can go there.
So Jalen Robinette, who had 4 touchdown catches last year, has the first through the air for the Falcons of this season. There's Robinette and the Flyboys. They are off and running and using it through the air as well, leading 7-0 on Morgan State. First push-ups of the season for the Cadets. It's a requisite. Air Force up 7-0 as they score on their first offensive possession.
Listen, I don't think that's first push-ups of the season for those guys.
Well, you're right.
Crazy?
You're right.
Those guys, are you crazy? They've done
in
a few
terms of
push-ups.
a football game, said.
Touchdown push-ups.
Yeah,
okay?
first touchdown push-ups.
Points push-ups. I mean, they have people think they're going soft around here at the academy.
I would never say that. I would never say that. Lee Hole looks on. His Bears, they're going to have to regroup after that touchdown throw from Romine to Robinette. It's a combo we may mention a lot this year. Too early with the kickoff. And that's out of the end zone. Let's take a look at this TD pass that Romine throws to Robinette.
It's the easiest one you're going to get. You can see the safeties. He's already leaning forward. This safety as well, but this guy is the big-time help guy on the backside. Once the play fake goes in, and it's a real short play fake, he's coming downhill and attacks forward. You're the last line of defense. We've got 9 other guys that can make a tackle up there. We need to make sure you're back helping out for that purpose right there. You don't want to give up an easy touchdown like that on the road.
You saw Robinette go up and get it. Air Force didn't offer him until they saw him play hoops. And then they knew they had something they could work with at wide receiver. So back come the Bears. Their second possession on offense. With Moses Skilling set to throw. Looks to his right, and he finds his go-to guy, Andrew King. It's a short reception on first down.
It is a short reception. However, it's positive yards, and that's something you got to be happy about. They got to stay out of the legal procedure penalties from that offensive line and allow them to complete passes. You can get 3, 4, 4.5 yards on first down. You're having some success. That's going to be huge for them throughout the rest of this game.
So 2nd and 6. Skilling will look around and maybe reset. You got King in the slot to his left, his go-to receiver. They're going to give it to Orlando Johnson, and he gets met in the backfield by Ryan Watson.
Ryan Watson, that's a great job crashing down from the end and finishing the play.
Time out for our ego blowers, keys to the game.
Morgan State has to adjust to the altitude. They've got to be in shape and be ready to run. They've got to stop the run game and force Air Force out of character. And for Air Force Falcons, they've got to win on first down, 4 yards or more, and they've done that so far. And their young secondary has to force fumbles and turnovers and interceptions, making plays for that team.
Bears in another third down situation. And it looks like somebody got up out of their stance. So yet another flag. You know, that offensive line, they nicknamed themselves last year the Trench Mob. But they lost a lot of experience in the offseason. 5th penalty already on Morgan State.
Prior to the false start, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still third down.
So 5 penalties already for the Bears. And see, you talked about players being missing. You know, when you have Herb Walker Jr. out of the game, Herb Walker, it's a situation where you have things that you like to do. When you haven't got somebody that important to your offense, he's not in the mix, you rely so heavily on him. You know what to dial up. You know what to dial up. Now you got to figure out who's going to be the guy, who the other guys that are going to come in and help. And that's what the Bears are going through right now, trying to find those other pieces that can help them be successful this afternoon.
Saw the marker, 3rd and 12, still in the pass. Sets up the screen to Johnson. Johnson, one to beat, and he's got to pass the sticks and a first down. He is fast. We knew he was quick.
You know, great recognition there by Connor Healy. He just wasn't able to stay up with him. This is well set. Look at the good set and look at the offensive line go. Skillen does a nice job of retreating. That's a great throw. Well-designed play, and I think that's what you got to be worried about on third down. Screens and draws, especially with a team with some quickness.
Johnson picks up 21 yards on that screen. So now up to their own 44. And Skillen was going forward and just fell down and gets back to the line of scrimmage.
That's a design keep by the quarterback because there was some space for Orlando Johnson on the edge. I'm not so sure he's reading it unless he just decided to make up his mind early on.
Skillen looks over to the sidelines. The offensive coordinator is Fred Ferrier for Lee Hole, and they go way back to their days at Holy Cross. Both Holy Cross alums, and saw the confusion, so the Bears are going to take a timeout. So 7:07 to go here in the first quarter, and the Bears look a little confused. They did just get a first down, but they trail 7-0 as the Falcons have the lead in their home opener for the season.
Welcomes more than 15,000 friends to this year's parents.
Air Force Falcons went 71 yards on their first series as Nate Romine hit Jalen Robinette. 26-yard pass. They're up 7-0 at home and on defense as Morgan State is back under center with a 2nd and long, a 2nd and 11. 2 receivers on each side for Skillen. 3-step drop. Fisk comes back to it and in and out of his hands.
Pass intended to
So incomplete on 2nd down.
Dexter Walker there to introduce himself. They try to run the tunnel screen outside, and this is something Coach Calhoun said they worked on quite a bit. Being aggressive with those blockers, taking it on at the point of attack. Dexter Walker in perfect position there to close down and make a hit.
So 3rd and 11, Skillen 3 of 5 for 41 yards passing thus far. Falcons show pressure, going to go long, throwing it up, and it is caught down the left sideline. It looks like Brian Gentry, the freshman from Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
And if you're going to play man, this is what you got to be able to do. He picks the correct side. It's man-to-man coverage with safety help over the top. Safety can't get there in time. A little late coming over. But you got to be able to hit some of these against a team that's going to bring pressure and man you up. You've got to take them out of that. You got to make them want to play some zone against you. Then you can open the rest of your playbook up. Good job by Skillen there.
Nice throw. First down into Air Force territory. And he's going to throw as they roll out and hit the tight end, Emi Akanawi. And He'll make a reception on first down.
McAnally on the slip route. This is a naked bootleg, and this is the difference. When you have a hybrid safety / linebacker in there, like Dexter Walker, he gets in that backfield in a hurry, forces a quick decision. Minimal gain.
Looking at Bears at about the 25 of Air Force. Skillen going to pitch it out. It's Johnson. Johnson gets stuffed at about the line of scrimmage. Going to bring up a third down.
We're going to need the freshman Brian Gentry to do a better job of blocking over on that sideline.
In a minute here, let's scout the Bears and tell you about Morgan State, the school from Baltimore, playing in the MEAC, the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference in the FCS. The school was founded way back in 1867. This is their 117th year of football. And there's their head coach, Lee Hull, who last year took the team to the top of the MEAC.
FCS playoff game, lost to Richmond on the road.
3rd and 6, Skillen. Going to roll right, scrambles, and can't get it off, and he's taken down from behind. That was Alex Hansen, who we knew would be active.
Absolutely. I mean, just a good football player, this guy. Been playing since his freshman year. Skillen missed 2 open receivers on this. He's kind of bouncing around. Hansen just continues to work, and he comes from the opposite side of the field, continues to work and makes a play. And that's that leadership, that effort.
So the Bears going to try to get on the board after Hansen comes around and gets Skillen with a field goal attempt. This will be about 42 yards from Chris Moeller. And we've got a whistle before the kick. And going to take a timeout.
Prior to the delay of game, timeout, Morgan State. That is their second charge timeout of the half.
Yeah, that's number 2 already.
Listen, because of delay of game situations, the coaches are trying to avoid it. They don't want to back this kick up 5 more yards. There's play clocks in the end zones directly behind the goalposts. If you don't know how much time's on the clock, shame on you.
Right.
I mean, you got to figure it out. The guys on the field are responsible for that. That's nothing the coaching staff can do besides tell them.
Here's the MEAC preseason poll. Morgan State, they are picked to finish 5th. Now, last year they were picked to finish last, and they surprised. There was a lot of competition within the MEAC, and they ended up winning the title. They start out with this tough road game out west here in Colorado against the Falcons. So here's Mueller again to line it up from 42. Chris Clack will hold. Snap and hold is good. Flag on the play. The kick is up. And the kick is no good. We did have a flag. Another one. Kevin Hassel's our
Illegal formation. Offense, number 92. That penalty will be declined. The result of the play is the field goal was no good. Air Force takes over. It's down.
So Air Force is going to take over after the missed field goal and the flag. We've already seen him perform. He was great last year in some of these highlights, and he has come up to a fast start here in 2015. Jalen Robinette. Next Saturday on Root Sports. So the Falcons back on offense. They're going to run it around the right side. That's Benton Washington. Another one of the weapons they have on offense.
You know, this team is sophomore here. Good quickness, good burst, good job blocking out in front. Garrett Griffin does a nice job to steal the edge. And this team can hit you with so many different weapons.
Back under center, 2nd and 1. Romine up the middle, and an easy first down run.
DJ Johnson pounding it ahead. And again, gets to meet head up with Peterson Javier. He's probably telling his guys up front, why don't you guys slow that guy down a little more?
Easier said than done, right? Another set of downs for the Falcons. And it's the pitch out to Washington. Kind of went down, had a little bit of room. Rogers got him on the tackle.
There's a physical finish there.
Yeah, close to another first down.
Washington getting those shoulders down. Very physical on that finish. Cravon Rogers did a nice job of getting him to the ground in the open field. And you're seeing the multiple looks, the option, the counters, the sweeps, the fly sweeps. This Air Force team gets you looking inside so much. They're able to explode outside or down the middle for a big play.
Number 9, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
So false start on Robinette on the 2nd and 1. Troy Calhoun can't be happy about that. You know, they want discipline.
Watch the football, especially as a wide receiver. I can see sometimes every now and then maybe the offensive lineman jumping because they want to get off the ball. But, man, as a receiver, your job is to look inside and watch the ball.
2nd and 6, first flag on the Falcons in the game. Pitch out to the right. Looks like Jacoby Owens who came back in, and Rogers again physical. He got the stop. About the 50 or so.
Looks like he got a little stinger. He might have to come off the field. That was a good hit. Good lead block there.
Well, 3rd down, and the run up the middle by DJ Johnson will get another first down. So said DJ Johnson wasn't even 100% last year because he had a minor operation with his quad muscles attaching to his knee. Now this year he's 100%. And look what he did last year with the 8 touchdowns.
Strong, I mean, extremely strong, powerful.
From the 46, first down, and another throw. And it's dropped. It was bobbled on that right side.
He's trying to run before he got it. Jordan Craig comes running out and finishes him off before Jalen Robinette can fit. He's trying to run before he gets it. See the move? He already had his mind on going here. And then he took one to the chin by Jordan Craig. Watch this shot coming up in here.
This will look good on the slow-mo.
Oh, that's a good shot.
That'll separate you from the ball. 2nd and 10.
Might be wondering why there was no targeting call. The ball was bobbled. He was going up and down. He couldn't clearly see where he was going.
One's going to keep it, and he's going to be tackled after a gain of just about a yard. And that was Brandon Griffin who gets the start instead of Quan Jackson. Griffin from Baltimore making the tackle.
Young freshman getting some run out there. This is valuable experience for some of these young guys, and you might be able to get that roster if you get everybody back. Now you've got extra guys that have played and have experience against a good football team.
Bears would love to get a stop here. It's 3rd and 9. Pitch, room, left side, Garrett Brown, and Brown did enough to get the first down.
Like he kind of slowed up at the point of it. Really good block out in front. I believe it was Ben Washington with the low block.
Yeah, if we use Garrett Brown like this, Coach Calhoun said he's a small guy, but he's dangerous.
Actually, that was Jacoby Owens who threw that lead block. Really good to see him on the field.
See the clock runs. We near the end of the first quarter. Air Force from the 35 of Morgan State. Pitch, left side, in and out. And look at Washington tiptoe down to about the 15. Benton Washington had 0 time last year, but they liked what he did in scrimmages, and now he gets some action.
Again, a good block kick out by Ruffett. And look at him walk the tightrope here, slow-mo, and here comes our man, Javier. Going to come over and introduce himself.
3 carries, 38 yards for Washington.
The Bears have a few guys in the secondary that play very physically.
Romine has a wide-open Garrett Brown. That might have got tipped by Griffin. Definitely short-armed it.
Oh, there's pressure bearing down on him. I believe that was applied by Brandon Griffin coming off the edge. But the ball's going down immediately. It wasn't tipped. His hands up, he's standing up too tall on his toes, and that front leg's locked out. It goes straight in the ground. That's just poor technique on the throwing motion.
The release was a little strange. So second down now for Air Force. Back to the ground, pitch to the left side. It's Garrett Brown again. And almost to the 5-yard line goes the senior from Marietta, Georgia.
It's a good tackle by Jordan Clay there.
And that ought to bring us to the end of the first quarter, with the Falcons holding a 7-0 lead. So Air Force doing what they have to do. And the first quarter set, Air Force coming up with a passing touchdown. We knew they could do it in the air and on the ground, right?
All led by that offensive line up front, opening the gaping holes.
The flyover was awesome, and the Falcons' first possession, another thing of beauty, as Romine hits Jalen Romanet, and it's 7-0 Falcons as we head to the second quarter at the Air Force Academy. Wyoming. And here we go back to live action as the Falcons try to get into the end zone for a second time as we start up the second quarter. On a 3rd and 1, they're able to get the first down, and they'll have a 1st and goal.
Tackle there by Daylon Williams.
Back under center, that drive they've got going on. 12 plays thus far. See if they just run it with DJ Johnson, the big fullback. Romine hands it off, and Johnson able to get into the end zone. And we see the sign for the second touchdown for the Falcons.
Too much power for Mike Gaynor there. He just drags him on into the end zone. And look at the pad level that he's able to attack this with. Comes off the right side. Even had his lead blocker miss. And that's just too strong, too physical. Takes Brandon Griffin on a ride.
It's been DJ Johnson running the football for the most part early on for the Falcons, as the kick is up and good to make it 14-0. As Johnson, who last year had 330 yards on the ground and 8 TDs. You look at the scoring drive, 13 plays and 4:41 off the clock.
These are two of the biggest fullbacks that the Academy has ever had. Ever.
Well, last year they combined for 843 yards on 192 carries. That's 4.4 per carry, 16 TDs, and Troy Calhoun was talking about saying, you know, they're short, they're stumpy, they're waddly, but you know what they are? He said they're beautiful. They make me think of gridiron. That word said, you know, that's one of those words where you go, yes, those guys play on the gridiron and they play tough football.
Extremely tough football.
There's Troy Calhoun. He talks about his O-line too. Every year he says, you know, we're probably the smallest O-line in FBS. You know they're not going to be outworked. Drew Early to kick it off, the senior. Falcons up 14-0 early here in the second at the Air Force Academy. Early with the kick. And this is going to sail over the head of Johnson. So let's get back down to the sidelines and check in with Torrey Holt. Torrey.
I was behind the Morgan State bench, and I was listening to Moses Skillen come over after that last possession, and they were staying very upbeat. They thought looking forward here to this next series, that they're going to be able to maybe take some shots downfield and take advantage that they're seeing a lot of man-to-man coverage. And if they don't get that, maybe he has got an opportunity to take off and run when those defensive backs get their backs turned to the line of scrimmage.
All right, Torrey, in the first quarter, they threw for over 100 yards.
Well, I mean, their last drive successful, 50 yards. They took off 5 minutes and 42 seconds off the clock. They just came up short, missed the field goal. However, they were able to hit a fade route and get some confidence through the air.
The draw for the quarterback, and still maybe got a yard or so. Ross was in for the Falcons to make the tackle, one of the athletic special teams guys and a backup linebacker.
To me, you have an untested, unproven secondary from the Air Force Academy. You should be challenging them.
Looks like Ricky Fisk is going to line up as the QB. had experience in high school as a quarterback. And he's going to hand it off to Johnson, and maybe another yard on second down. See if Skillen was out for just one play. It looks like it. He's going to back in. Morgan State 3 of 5 on third down. They've got a 3rd and long coming up.
I just don't see why you have to challenge the secondary. They have not a lot of experience for the Air Force Academy in the secondary. If your protection can hold up, and so far it's done a pretty good job, if it can hold up, you've got to take some shots at this secondary. They don't have very much experience. Weston Stillhammer, the other guy back there with significant playing time.
Skillen out of the gun. Looks over the middle, and he is taken down. Samuel Byers. Troy Calhoun loves Byers, too. Had a little bit of a sprained ankle, but you can't see it on this play.
No, quick move. He's able to beat the blocker in front. It's just man-to-man. I mean, they're only rushing 4 guys, and they get home. Shouldn't happen, but tremendous effort by Byers.
So a big loss, going to bring up a 4th and long, and obviously a punting situation for Morgan State. Muller stands on his 5-yard line, gets it off from about the 8. Brown, a couple steps back, straight forward, tries to elude a tackle, can't, and gets it to about the 44. So Brown gets up, and he'll go back on offense when we come back from break. It's Air Force 14, Morgan State nothing, with 12:23 to go in the second quarter. For campus bio on the Air Force Academy, Falcons Stadium, opening up back in 1962. The capacity is 46,692, and the Academy was founded 8 years earlier in 1954, ranked by Forbes magazine as the 38th best university in the nation. You see where some of the engineering schools rank very high. You're talking about the cadets and the education they get here, unparalleled at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. And here are the Falcons back on offense. Jacoby Owens gets a carry. Owens last year broke his foot and said he had 6 temporary screws put into that foot, and he's back, and it's less than a year later. Flag on that play, by the way. There's Owens. Let's see what the call is.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 55, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So that's on Jai Franklin. He's the transfer from Old Dominion for the Bears. That's how you always go over to the sidelines, right? Arms open, say what?
It's just a matter of talking and doing a little bit too much after the play. You made a good play. Be excited about the play. You don't have to, point at your name, yell at the other guys. Just go back to the huddle. You're down 14-0. Go back to the huddle and get ready for the next play.
Just saw the new defensive coordinator, Mike Finoga of the Bears. Room for Owens on the left side. Has a blocker, steps inside, and picks up about 9.
It's a misread on the block there by Owens. It was Robinette had his man pinned inside. He could have just gone right outside of him. Great early pitch, but right here, just go ahead and take that right outside. Actually, it's
run on the right side. That's DJ Johnson again for the first down and more. Gets it down to the 25.
Damari Whitaker on the stop. See a lot of guys for Air Force substituting, a lot of guys in and out of the game, trying to keep the pace quick.
Yeah, that block was by Miles Barnes, backup wide receiver you were talking about. New first down for the Falcons. And they pitch it again, and this one almost stopped, but looks like Owens is able to get a yard or two coming around the right side.
There's the same guys on the tackles for these guys. Jordan Cry, Cravon Rogers, and Javier. Those 3 guys have been in on just about every play.
Those are the names we've been calling, yeah.
All day long, yeah. 29, 20, and 21.
Romine back under center. And we've got whistles all around and a flag. So far, Air Force has rushed for 133 yards. That's their forte. That's what they want to do. They want to lead the country in rushing if they can, year in and year out.
Substitution infraction. Defense. 12 players in formation. Still second down.
Look at Lee Holt just shaking his head.
I didn't see anybody sprinting off.
Now, if you didn't hear at the beginning of the game, data review, kind of an academic audit, and Morgan State is missing some players that they had counted on for this game. It'll be a week-to-week proposition as they get things compliant. Garrett Brown runs to the left, they hand it off, and it's the first time I think I've said Shane Davern's name, the other fullback, along with DJ Johnson.
Davern's brought down by David Williams.
They have two of the best, and you know, let's be honest, most teams in America don't use a true fullback anymore. I mean, the game has changed and evolved. But this is still a beautiful style of football to me, and you got a fullback that can run it like these two guys. It makes it awesome to watch.
Pitch outside, and into the end zone goes Benton Washington, the sophomore from Georgia. And almost unblocked, gets it in. The Falcons have their third score of the game.
So you get out in space as a blocker, you've got to do a tremendous job. And you're going to watch the lead blocker here, Garrett Brown, take the safety out, get him off his feet. And that's an unselfish play by Garrett Brown. You get out there in space, and you're going to have to load and lead. Great cut block. Gets defender off his feet. Almost a walk-in there for Washington. That's a great block out front.
Early for the point after. It's up and good to make it 21-0. Here's Benton Washington again on the run. I mentioned he didn't get much time last year, if any, and now he scores in game one.
Watch the lead blocker there. I mean, that's a tremendous job and something you know you're going to have to do. You want to be a Falcon wide receiver. You're going to have to be tough. You're going to have to get out there and block for your guys. That was a really good job of lead blocking there by Garrett Brown.
You see the scoring drive numbers. Garrett Brown said, too, he has a goal this year. And the coaches said, okay, he wants 1,500 all-purpose yards. Last year he had about half that, maybe a little bit more. That's his goal as a senior. But that's the way you're talking about his mindset is, right? To do whatever he can and anything he can to help his team.
And that's, listen, I think those are attainable goals. I mean, this offense is going to get better week in and week out. The more Nate Romine stays on the field, the more he stays on the field, the better it's going to be as you get a look at Garrett Brown there.
Yeah.
Not the biggest guy, but you see, wanting to block for somebody is all effort and technique. That was a complete decleater. Got his guy off his feet, did what he was supposed to do. I think that's a very, it's a huge, lofty goal, but I think it's attainable with him in the kicking game.
Johnson's going to field this one in the end zone and take a knee. Last two Air Force drives, 19 plays, 130 yards, all on the ground. 6:45 off the clock, and they're up 21-0.
You know what's happening here, right? They're setting up their next pass play. This is what's happening.
It's Troy Calhoun.
And you're throwing the guys that will be that wide open because you're having such success running the ball. The passes you will throw will be significant, and your guys will be wide open.
Moses Skillen back on, the quarterback for the Bears with their offense. And Calhoun said it's the most preparation they've done for any opener, at least since he's been here. They started as early as May, trying to get ready for this game, and they're up 3 scores. And that pass is in and out of the hands of Brian Gentry, the freshman who had a big catch earlier in the game.
It's just a lack of concentration. Come out, you've run the ball every first down of the game. You come out here, you want to get it in the air and throw it. It's a good hitch route. Timing's there. Skillen puts it on target, and you drop it.
2nd and 10 now for the Bears. Trying to make something happen here in the second quarter. There's Moses. Hand it off. And hit at the line of scrimmage is the new running back who comes in, number 32. So it's going to bring up a 3rd and long again.
loss on the tackle there, and the forceful tackle.
It's Lamont Brown who gets a carry. Falcon Stadium comes to life on this 3rd and long.
Man-to-man to the boundary here.
Low snap, Skillen picks it up and runs. And that's not going to get it done. He gets it up to almost the 30. Low snap, did that affect that play, Sid?
It doesn't look like it because he picked it up with enough time to recover and do something with it. However, he chose to kind of run it in there. He still had time to pick it up, move his feet, get back a little bit, and find somebody downfield, but the receivers didn't look like they were doing too much to try to get open.
Because of that second straight 3 and out for the Bears. There's Brown back in for the punt return. We talked about the all-purpose yards. It's like a few steps back. Good punt by Moeller. On the 25, left side 30. 35 up the middle 40. Has a blocker over midfield. Still on his feet. Look at Brown go. To the 10, to the 5, and Garrett Brown scores on the punt return.
Talk about those lofty goals. Tell you, it seemed like all we ever saw them do last year were fair catch season. He's got plenty of room here, sets up the first man, good kick out block, and look at the guys downfield trying to get hands on. It's all it takes, his little hand. He picks and weaves his way, and he is well off.
To 1,500
yards on his way. I mean, that is a huge play.
Brown gets the hugs on the sideline early on for the point after again. Number 2 early's coming on after Will Conant, who was the special teams player of the year in the Mountain West. Kicker who graduated. So it's been all Air Force. As Garrett Brown, with a 75-yard punt return, takes it to the house. And the Flyboys are up on the Bears, 28-0. Even the Falcon holders are doing push-ups. This may be their first push-ups of the year.
Yeah, could be.
Could be. 28-0. Air Force has the lead.
Beautiful animals, man.
There's Garrett Brown with a 75-yard punt return for a score. First punt returner since 2009. When Anthony Wright went the distance against Army, 88 yards for the Falcons.
I always talk about time of possession is so important, but Morgan State has had the ball 12 minutes, 45 seconds to Air Force's 8 minute, 40 seconds. And it's doing nothing.
Johnson's going to give it a shot. Why not? Ooh, he gets taken off his feet right at the 10 and gets out to about the 12. That's a big hit by Patrick Healy. Yeah, that's a guy that I know you know well, Sid.
That's my guy right there. Played fullback for us at Mullen, but that's a big-time hit. Fullback and linebacker. Big-time play.
Haley, the junior from Castle Rock that went to Mullen. And they are pumped on the bench after seeing that, even Garrett Brown. 16 yards on the return for Orlando Johnson. He was way deep in the end zone, so it comes out to about the 13 or so. It's been a struggle for the Bears offense. Their second series, they had a big play to Brian Gentry, but they haven't really been able to muster much up since then. Run on the left side, going nowhere. And that's a tackle for a loss of about a yard or 2.
I think that might have been Timothy McVeigh on that tackle. That's why all the offensive guys got excited. We got double numbers with him and Patrick Healy. He comes off the field. McVeigh is a running back. Backup running back.
We knew they were going to use some extra players.
Nonetheless, a huge hit. That's why all the offensive guys got excited. He's backup running back. Doesn't get much time.
2nd and 10, so no gain on that running play. Wasn't a tackle for a loss. Out to Andrew King. He gets pulled down. Maybe 3 or 4 as the clock runs.
Nice tackle out in space by Brody Hicks.
Yeah, Hicks is the junior from the Springs. Went to Falcon, the Colorado guy.
Third down and 6.
See the clock runs under 7.5 to go here in the second. Air Force up 4 touchdowns. 3rd and 6. Skillen out of the gun, drops back, looks right, brings it down, gonna run it, has some room, got a block, and Moses gets the first down. Ryan wants it on the tackle. Looks like Lamont Brown got a nice tackle for him.
He takes a look, but this is really good coverage. Doesn't have anything right away and makes the right choice and makes it quick enough so he can go down and get the first down. And you see he's a guy that wants to throw the ball. He's not a runner.
7 rushes for 18 yards for Skillen. And that went nowhere.
Heavy pressure coming everywhere.
That was Weston Steelhammer, who was up from the safety spot to stop that run and stuff it.
Along with Lachlan Dietz, the nose. Got to recognize when there's pressure coming. You had 2 blitzers coming off the strong side.
This defense of the Falcons last year went from allowing 40 points in 2013 to under 30 last year, out to Andrew King, and he's hit immediately and knocked out. Dexter Walker on that tackle knocks King out.
You know, with the emergence of Dexter Walker and Onichi, I mean, these are guys that are strong safety types. These are guys that are not linebackers. However, they're physical enough to play that hybrid spot where they can come up and play around the line of scrimmage, but they play outside in space well enough to get out to the flat, to get to the curl area. Keeps the Falcons from having the substitute guys in the ballgame.
9th third down situation for the Bears. They're 4 of 8 thus far in the game. This is 3rd and 7. Skillen, quick throw to the right, and underthrows his receiver. He wanted a flag, no flag on the play. That was Lipscomb on the route down the right side.
Again, a lot of guys that are inexperienced. If you got a fade route, he's trying to throw you the fade comeback or the fade stop, put it on your back shoulder, allow you to use your big frame. I'm just not seeing a lot of want to win from the receiving core of the Bears right now. They should be excited about all this man-to-man coverage, and they're not even taking advantage of it.
So another punt for Chris Moeller. A little bit of a high snap, grabs it, and gets it away. Have to let this one bounce. It bounces the Falcons' way, so it's picked up. And looks like they're going to mark it at about the 33. Falcons enjoying their season opener and home opener over Lee Hol's Morgan State Bears. Up 28-0. Back on offense with a 28-0 lead with 5:44 to go here in the second. And Air Force with some balanced running. DJ Johnson has 51 yards on the ground. Benton Washington 51. Jacoby Owens 22 and Garrett Brown 19. And they're going to pitch it this time. And not much to Owens, and he gets smacked on that first down play.
Jai Franklin, nose guard, continuing to run and sprint and hustle down the line. That's why it's not always good to cut back and, you know, spin move and do all that stuff after you've been stretched out so long. You've got guys coming that are hustling. Jai Franklin with the nice hit, cleanup shot.
Mike Finoga, the defensive coordinator, happy about Franklin coming over from Old Dominion. Some D1 experience for that line for the Bears. On second down now, it's the pitch, and it's on the ground, and Owens is going to roll on it. And Morgan State, a little life on defense.
Got a little pep in their step. They got a couple plays. You got a big hit from your nose guard. Now Air Force puts the ball on the ground. Stay disciplined here. Don't jump off sides, but it's a pitch a little bit too far out in front. Owens not able to get to it. Very fortunate for the Falcons that that's not a turnover.
Terry Harris running towards the ball for the Bears. So get the view of Troy Calhoun on the Falcons sidelines. See Air Force have been perfect on third down, but this is a 3rd and 17. Romine going to air it out, looking long for the jump ball, and that's incomplete.
Romine's pass intended for Robin
Andrew King on the coverage, and Very fortunate. Because you don't get behind. You see his angle. He is behind. That's not Andrew King. That is number 13, Delonta Hall. He gets behind a 6'5" guy.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that. Very fortunate that ball was overthrown.
First punt of the afternoon for the Falcons.
Andrew King will return to the Bears.
And this one is knocked in the air. And Andrew King makes the fair catch. So the Bears get a 3 and out. First one of the afternoon for the Air Force Falcons. They lead 28-0. Mark Stout and Sed Bonner here at the Academy. Air Force, we knew they were going to try to run it and throw. They even have a special teams touchdown.
Yeah, and that's huge. Week 1, when you can get your special teams to contribute and make a big play, big touchdown for them. Right there, they can't be happy with that offensive set. They were shut down. And for the Bears, I mean, you got to be excited. You just turned them away defensively, got them off the field. Now your offense has to figure out a way to go down and put points on the board.
So we'll see what Moses Skillen and the Bears can do as they take over here on offense with decent field position at about the 38. They'll pass on first down, and Ricky Fisk near the marker could have a first down. Let's see where they step it off, and yep, first down throw.
I think that's huge for this team. They've got to have success on first down, as we talked about in the open. It's a nice stop route. Good job of finishing the play. And all along, I felt they should attack this secondary because there's not a lot of experience out there for the Falcons.
Pass again. Skillen brings it down, makes a move, has room. Now he's got a wide open receiver on the right side. And that's Lamont Brown who makes the catch. Steelhammer on the tackle, but a nice little throw from Skillen.
It was, and I think he had his receiver early. He's going to flash right inside, right there. He's open. He doesn't take it, but he leaks out. And watch Lamont Brown do the smart thing. Gets behind the defense who didn't pay attention. He sneaks up the boundary for a nice gain.
Now, way up to the 33 now, the Falcons. So we see the Bears coming to life here at the end of the second quarter. Let's see if they throw again. It's on the ground. Skillen picks it up, and he is going to be buried on that tough snap.
Moses Skillen picks up the ball and comes right away by Grant Ross. Today's second quarter replays are brought to you by Mountain States Ford, driven by Ford
on the tackle.
Built better, built stronger.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple of times. Low snap, snap away. Skillen not able to handle it, so it kills a play. I mean, that's a wasted play for an offense. Wasted play.
Dominic Woods is the guy with the experience on the line for the Bears, the center who moved from left guard last year. Junior from Skyline, Texas for Lee Hull's team. Now second and long. They'll throw. Quick slant. Gentry's hit. Made the catch. Gets near the original line of scrimmage. Kalen Baker with the hit.
Good job of driving on this slant route by Kalen Baker.
Let's see what Morgan State does.
3rd and 11.
So we're coming up on 2 minutes to go in the first half. It's a 3rd and 11 they're going to call it.
Well, since there's been pressure brought on every third down by Air Force, you're going to get a man-to-man matchup right here. Let's see if he can take advantage of it.
Screen is set up for Brown. Lamont Brown has room. He's got the first down. 20 over the 15, and he's down to the 13.
You got to go back in your memory banks if you're the Falcons. The last time you were hurt by this play, Connor Healy on the tackle. Last time you were hurt on 3rd and long, they run the screen. You see him slip in, and then he just wedges outside. Good job by the offensive line inviting him upfield. And Lamont Brown does the rest. He's come up big on this drive. 2 huge plays in the passing game for Lamont Brown.
Yeah, Healy had to run him down from behind. So let's see what the Bears can do as they get within the red zone of the Falcons. Skillen's going to throw. Steps back, looks, throws, and there's got to be a flag. That was the tight end, Emi Akanawi.
You can't throw this ball that late. He's going to get bailed out here.
That flag was in the end zone.
They try to hit the tight end on the quick post route.
Pass interference. Defense, number 8. The foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic first down.
And you get Stillhammer, who comes down over the top, but they're trying to throw the ball right in this area right here. And he makes a little early contact, but he's going for the football. Tough call. There was contact. He did knock him down, so the call has to be made.
So the ball's on the 2 now, first and goal. Skillen on this drive, 4 of 4 through the air for 54 yards. He's got Lamont Brown behind him. The tight end to his left.
So look over the sideline for the play call.
And Skillen's going to hand it off and try to
Connor Healy
work with Brown there. So Healy makes the hit. And Grant Ross also on the tackle.
Look at that fill right there. Connor Healy, the heart and soul of that defense, steps up and plugs it. Grant Ross comes over to finish him up.
Here's Healy, one of the captains.
One thing, he doesn't run exceptionally well, but if you're going to try to run right at him, he will knock it dead. He will finish the play.
On second and goal, Skillen takes the snap, runs to the right, Room cuts it up, and Skillen into the end zone for a touchdown for the Bears.
How about that? Lamont Brown goes the wrong direction. Your pitch man on option, they run a weak side option, and the pitch man goes the wrong way, and the quarterback's still able to get it in. You see Skillen out there looking like he wants to pitch it. Watch Brown go this way, Skillen the other way, and he looks like he wants to pitch it.
He just cuts it in and scores.
At that point, you've got to attack. If you're Ryan Watson, you've got to go get him. There's nobody else out there. You've got to squeeze the quarterback, force the issue, squeeze him down. There's no pitch man there.
And Chris Moeller with the PAT, it's up and good. So the Bears on the board to make it 28-7. We saw some of the Morgan State fans here. We should say their athletic director, Floyd Kerr, has some ties to Colorado, even though the team has never been to Colorado. He's a CSU guy. He was a big hoopster back in the day.
Him and his twin brother came out here from Indiana to play basketball.
Yeah, there's some of the Bears fans. Yeah. So he's happy to just be back and happy that the Bears get on the board.
It's a good drive. I mean, there were a couple big plays, but the plays that were made in the passing game by the Bears. And I felt that was an area where they could take advantage of a young secondary from the Air Force Academy.
Moses Skillen is 6'5" and 230, so even on that misread, he's able to get it in with that big body.
With some power.
Right. Big guy from Liberty City, Florida. So 36 seconds left in the first half. And we'll see what the Falcons do with the football with a 28-7 lead. Score through the air, on the ground, and on special teams. And it took until almost halftime for their defense to break after bending just a bit. And this will go back of the end zone and come out.
Forward kick is down in the end zone by Ryan Driscoll. First down, Air Force.
Air Force, by the way, will stay home next week and begin their Mountain West schedule, taking on San Jose State. They'll have a Saturday night game.
They put up 43 points and 700 total yards of offense the other night.
Ron Carriger's team did that?
Yes, against Delaware, I believe, and it was big-time offensive output from the San Jose Spartans.
This is Nate Romine, the quarterback out of California, went 24-2 in high school. And they're going to pitch it. Let's see what they can do around the edge. Jacoby Owens picks up about 8 or 9.
Jacoby Owens, the ball carrier.
In fact, they're going to move the chains to give them 10. Air Force, by the way, will get the second half kick.
See the young Tyler Williams going to learn a lesson about catching right there, blocking. You got to run through guys. You can't catch a blocker.
So Air Force is going to take a timeout. Talking about San Jose State coming to Air Force next week. Let's show you the Falcons' schedule. Troy Calhoun's team. He is going to play San Jose State next week. In terms of what we have Mountain West-wise, we'll be in Wyoming next Saturday, and then we'll be up there a couple of Saturdays after that. New Mexico State, New Mexico, we'll have that game on October the 3rd. Stay in New Mexico for Hawaii. And then we'll be in San Jose State for a New Mexico game. UNLV CSU November 14th. CSU in New Mexico November 21st. We'll wrap it up with UNLV at Wyoming. That'll be at the end of November.
We can get 5 different weather systems up there in Laramie that time of year. You never know.
I'm not even going to guess.
It's always fun to go up to Laramie, though.
1st and 10, Romine gets the pitch off to Washington. And he gets knocked out after a pickup of about 5.
And you see, once they see that speed option look, the Bears are starting to attack it a little more with secondary help. And watch the quick flow. Linebacker gets off the block, is able to keep running, stay outside. It's a nice tackle out in the open space by Darius Johnson.
Let's good look at that tackle as Washington goes down. And Air Force takes another timeout. What's Mike Thiessen going to draw up here, the offensive coordinator? You got about 20 seconds.
2 timeouts left.
Courts on Thursday nights.
Coach Bowles, a dapper dresser, boy. If you haven't seen him, watch him.
Trying to go long, and Romine has his receiver, Garrett Brown, loses the handle, but he gets the first down, big yards down the left side.
It's a wheel route. They run the skinny post with Robinette and follow him with the slot player up the boundary. See it right in your living room, and it's a great play call.
15th first down for Air Force.
Ball was fumbled out of bounds.
Timeout. Air Force. That is their 3rd and final timeout of the half.
So Air Force takes a timeout.
I'm not sure why. Why it still ran there with the ball being fumbled out of bounds, unless it's a rule. If it goes out of bounds on a fumble, to keep guys from throwing it out of bounds to stop the clock. That wasn't the case, however, it was stripped from behind.
Brown just picked up 22 yards on that catch. He's got a 75-yard touchdown.
Are we doing the
return?
Are we marking the yards off?
We're going to have to do it for the entire year if we do it that way. I'm sure he is, right? So it looks like Air Force is going to line up for a field goal from the 45 from Drew Early. This would be a 55-yard attempt with 4 seconds to go in the half. Snap and hold good. The kick has got some leg, but it is wide. It's wide to the left. And Early's kick won't go through. Big leg for the guy from Indianapolis, but not accurate. And that's how the first half will end. So the Falcons coming out quick and strong, and they have a 28-7 lead. Let's get it now to our Root Sports Studios in Denver, where Jenny Kavnar is standing by. The Falcons last year, a 10-win team. They were a bowl team, won their bowl game. They're off to a great start.
They really are, and I think they got it going on the ground, which is what they want to do, leading with those fullbacks and DJ Johnson to get it going. It was great half of football for the Falcons.
Morgan State did take up a little time in the first half. There was only one scoring play, and that was this by the Falcons on the pass from Romide to Robinette.
And an easy wide open, and that was afforded because of the running game of the fullbacks. Running the ball for the Falcons, that was the first pass of the game they threw, but here they grinded out. DJ Johnson, 3 yards out, drives it in with the pounding running attack from the fullback spot. Then the pitch, the option outside, Benton Washington is able to take it 16 yards for the score.
So you got one through the air, 2 on the ground. Why not add a special teams touchdown? Garrett Brown, who's a great receiver, takes this one back.
And this is crazy. Right after he says he wants to have 1,500 total yards on the season, he breaks for 75. Great vision, good breakaway speed. Nice return.
So that made it 28-0. Credit the Bears. They're able to get in the end zone in the first half with their quarterback, Moses Skillen.
Yeah, they run the option. The tailback goes the wrong way. And 6'5", 230, I guess it doesn't matter if your guy goes the wrong way. He's able to power his way in for the score, get the Bears on the board.
Morgan State, a few problems academically, so they are missing a few key players. But at the half, they get a score in, and it's 28-7. We'll come back here to the Academy, to Air Force, and give you the first half stats as the Falcons lead at 28-7. Start the third quarter. First half stats, your game summary. See the rushing yards. Air Force wants to run it first and foremost, as said. They've thrown up some passing yards, over 200 total for the Falcons, 148 for Morgan State. A lot of penalties for the Bears. They've had the football for almost 20 minutes. Pushing 20. Time now for our Sierra Trading Post Field Report. Let's go down to Torrey Holt.
Well, thanks, Mark. With the score 28-7, when I talked to head coach of Air Force, Troy Calhoun, I thought he had the 7 in that. He said he was frustrated on those 2 long screen plays on third down. He also thought they were too sloppy putting the ball on the ground towards the end of that half. He really wanted to clean up some of those things and their situational football coming into the second half. On the flip side, Lee Hall, he said early on, too many penalties, a lot of young guys in this game here, so they were too excited. Needs them to calm down a little bit. Feels like they can move the football, guys.
Sounds good, Torrey. There's Lee Hall. Jersey native who actually played in the CFL, won a Grey Cup up in Winnipeg. Said that when they hired him, said they wanted discipline, structure, and accountability. Those are the 3 things he mentioned when we talked to him this week. And that's something Troy Calhoun, of course, knows about. That comes without saying when you're at Air Force.
Well, it's at the Air Force Academy. It's different. That is
right.
First and foremost. Now, Morgan State, that's something that has to be proven over time. That's something that you have to come in and implement. But when you implement it, you have to be willing to make guys pay consequences for not doing what they're supposed to do. That's the only way they're going to understand. These young kids are going to understand when you're serious about those things.
So the Falcons will get the ball here to start this second half, and they'll take a knee. Cadets are happy. And it's 28-7 Falcons here at the half. A little bit of sun coming out. Overcast day for the most part. Not a bad thing. It's a perfect day for football.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, cool, comfortable, outside of the altitude, if you will, for Morgan State. That's really the only thing they're having to deal with is the altitude. But they look to be fresh, and they look to be playing hard and physical.
It's Nate Romine, the junior from Upland, California. Under center, DJ Johnson is in the backfield. And Jacoby Owens as well. They're going to change the play here on first down. Hard count, left side. Owens tries to pop it out, goes in and gets knocked by Delonte Hall.
That's a good open field tackle. They come to the I formation and go to the counter. Hall able to squeeze it from the right edge.
Here's Delonte Hall. His nickname is Whispers. I was never able to really figure that out.
We got to get Torrey Holt on.
Unless that's what, he's causing when he makes hits like that. So a good hit from Hall. Brings up a 2nd and 7. Pitch on the left side. Owens in front of Garrett Brown. And Brown almost to midfield, up to the 48. Hall and Rogers had to bring him down.
It's a really good job by Jacoby Owens, leading again right here. You're going to see the seal right there. But we got to do a better job downfield blocking. That play goes a lot longer. The big tight end's able to secure that block.
Romine's going to throw on first down. Wide open. It's Garrett Brown. Can he make one move? He makes enough to get to the 15. We'll mark it at the 16.
Whitaker on the tackle.
Look up and Brown is wide open.
I tell you, every time you throw out of this set in this formation, when you have success running the ball, as you see Whitaker fly back in and get back into play on the hustle, guys are going to be wide open. It's just your job as a quarterback not to miss them.
Brown's got to catch in 19 straight games now. That was for 36 yards as DJ Johnson goes around the right side to about the 11th longest pass of the day for Air Force.
Late flag came in there.
See what Kevin Hassel says.
Personal foul, shot block, offense, number 22 and number 55. It's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Still down.
I know 55 is the sophomore center, Alex Norton. So he's in on that. Along with Brian Driscoll, I think was in a tailback spot. So move the football back to about the 28. And it's Johnson again, open field, 20, 15, 10, and he gets stood up and pushed down before he even get to the 10.
Run to daylight. Run to daylight. He's cutting back looking for guys.
He's a fullback.
I don't care. Go to the daylight. He's making cuts, looking for guys to run into.
He felt that one. There's DJ, who's trying to catch his breath. 5'10", 235 is what he's listed at. He's going to be able to run off. It's a good sign.
Gaping hole.
You would have went left?
Yes. I'm going a quick left and right up the middle.
This DJ, he'll walk off.
But I've never had to run anybody over, so I don't know what that's like.
DJ's already got a touchdown today. Had 9 last year total with 1 through the air. Brings up a 2nd and 5. Romine will look to the sidelines. Signals to his line. And it's Jacoby Owens, nice tackle.
It's a great play from Brandon Griffin from the backside. They run the counter. He's unaccounted for on the backside edge. And you're going to watch him track and get there in a hurry, showing off a little foot speed.
Here's the redshirt freshman, 5'11", 200 pounds. The high school in Tennessee, but hails from Baltimore, where these Bears do. So no gain, 3rd and 5. And it's Shane Davern up the middle. And he's got the first down over the 5 to the 4. It's the second part of the two-headed monster at fullback.
Haven't called his name much. Good tackle in the open field there by Javier. So you're getting matched up with these two big dudes, man. It's going to provide for a long day.
Davern was a high school linebacker. It didn't even say that he played any fullback or tailback. And here he goes again, trying to push his way into the end zone, still on his feet. Let's see if we get a signal. Looks like it's only going to get to about the 1. Was the ball out? Be a huge turnover for Morgan State. And they're going to have to sort this out. As you said, there is no fumble.
What do you got to lose? I challenge that. I throw a challenge. What do you got to lose?
Gainer was around there. He just took his helmet off, so he's got to come out. Let's see if we see anything with the football. And here's Air Force into the end zone.
I mean, I challenge that simply because they're going to score on the next play anyway. I challenge it. Let my guys rest a little bit. And you never know. Maybe it was moving. Maybe they see something. Now you've got the ball because they came out of there with it. The only way they could have challenged is if they blew it dead.
So DJ Johnson has a touchdown from the fullback spot, so does Shane Davern. They each had 8 last year, so they're even on the ground this year. And Drew Early's kick is up and good for the point after. So make it 35-7, Air Force. They ran it 9 times for 39 yards, had a 36-yard pass after 10 plays on that drive. They're up 35-7 at home. West game of the year here on Root Sports. Shane Davern with a touchdown run to make it 35-7. And the Falcons set to kick it off to the Bears. Morgan State again will start on their own 25. Moses Skilling came on at the end of last year and took over at quarterback because of an injury and ended up winning the starting job. Seth Higgins is his backup, who is a fifth-year senior. He injured his shoulder on a touchdown run in 2013 and was out with an injury, so Skillen able to take advantage of that opportunity. So first down from the 25. Skillen looks to throw. King, a little slow on that release, but he got it out to him.
Did take a long time to get out there. It's just a quick option route. He breaks out, going head-to-head with Dexter Walker, who forces him out of bounds.
Andrew King is a guy that he broke his foot and missed 5 games, but you can tell that he's his guy.
He's a good player, and I think you get the ball in his hands a little earlier so he can catch and do something with it, so he doesn't catch it and run out of bounds.
He still led the team last year in receiving yards with over 500. It's a 2nd and 5. They'll run it up the middle, and that goes absolutely nowhere into the middle of the Falcons' defensive line. Lamont Brown on the carry.
You're running right up into the gut of that defense. David Harris, Coppola, Alex Hansen, and those 3 guys up front. Make it tough for any slow developing inside plays.
There's Hansen, one of the captains. 3rd and 5, first half. Morgan State, 50% at 5 of 10 on 3rd down. Skillen drops, looks, steps up, out of the pocket, gonna run, brings it down, and he's gonna be hit. See if he can drag himself for the first down. Looks like he did. Big frame will get him the first down.
He's aided by the tackle coming from behind, which pulled him forward. And again, a good decision. Nothing available where he wanted to go with the football, or he didn't like it, but he made a decision to take it, pull it down, and run it. Gets the first down, moves his chains.
You like that, right? Make that just go.
If you make the decision, go. Don't, can't
Conviction.
mess around.
Yeah. They're going to hand it off. Nope. Skillen's going to keep it. And run right into, it's like Patrick Healy.
It's a good job, and you're trying to run zone read into an overhang linebacker as well as pressure from the secondary. Let's get a look at Patrick Healy, Mullen grad. But they're blitzing off the edge there, and you're running right into it with the zone read, and that's not going to work. And you had 1-for-1 everybody. Dexter Walker takes down the back. Healy takes down the quarterback.
I just saw Skillen get a first down on a run. He's got a touchdown, but he's 11 carries for 22 yards on the ground. Throws that into traffic. It hit Westhammer, who's still down. They kind of hit him in the backside as he was turned around on that coverage.
Well, his corner from the field side, Kalon Baker, sees it, comes off of his guy. Watch this recognition right here. That's a really good job, and comes off. If he's paying attention to the football, that's an interception the other way. But he looks back inside in the cover 2 style, looks inside and finds it. Comes in and makes a nice play on the ball, and they've been pretty good in the secondary.
Oh, there's all kinds of movement. So it looks like a false start.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 2, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Let's go back to that Steelhammer play with Baker too, looking in.
Yeah, Baker's just he's the corner, field corner. Steelhammer's all over it. He's trailing the route, but he sticks his arm up at the last second, gets it out of there. That's good coverage inside and out. Nowhere to really throw that ball. Skillen very fortunate that wasn't picked off because it was batted straight up in the air.
Moses 12 throws for 170. 12 of 17 so far. And throwing again, and it's not going to get it off.
So, and this is where it hurts, as Alex Hansen with the play. But look at this. This is, to me, this is pretty good protection. Look how long it takes him to deliver that ball. And then he pulls it back down. And Hansen just gives him a little kiss to finish it off.
Troy Calhoun was talking about Alex Hansen. He said, you've heard of type A, maybe A+ personalities? He went to AAA with Hansen.
He's type AAA.
Garrett Brown's going to fair catch this. When we come back, we'll tell you about Garrett Brown at his all-purpose yards. There's Alex Hansen, all smiles on the sidelines for the Air Force Falcons. Up 35-7 here with 8:12 to go in the third. Welcome back to Colorado Springs. Air Force up 35-7 here in the third quarter. It was a tough drive for Morgan State. 6 plays and 6 yards. Took 3:15 off the clock and had to punt it away. And Garrett Brown was able to catch it and fair catch it at about the 40, we'll call it the 44. Brown so far, by the way, 180 yards in the game. 83 on the punt returns, 39 rushing, 58 receiving. Times that by whatever. We're trying to get to 1,500, right? So he's on pace.
He's definitely on pace.
Yeah,
I think he might be a little upset having the fair catch that last ball. Playmakers want to make plays. They don't want a fair catch.
Benton Washington around the right side, gets a block. Puts his head down and up to midfield.
Yeah, Benton's a physical type runner. 5'11", 205 pounds.
Yeah. And I read that he impressed them with some speed and some power in practices. He's a National Honor Society guy, class president at Northgate in Noonan, Georgia. And this time it's up the middle with DJ Johnson again. And you know what he's going to do, get his 5 or 6 for the first down.
And look for somebody to run into very physically. He hits those guys hard when he runs.
So Air Force now pushing about 220 yards on the ground as Mike Finoga looks along. If he looks familiar, he does have a history at Wyoming. Coached linebackers there under Dave Christensen, so he knows about Air Force. Up the middle again. Look at DJ with a move. Wow. They're going to give him the first down.
Big man, light on his feet. Delonte Hall was like, please, thank goodness you jumped in the air before I had to hit you.
Let's watch this
Watch
again.
the jump cut by the big man, Sweetfeet. Oh.
Second down, 1.
Airborne.
Gets a great block out there by Reffett.
It's Air Force, right? Make it 229 yards on the ground.
It's light on the feet for the big fella.
So second and short, the pitch. And looks like the ground caused that fumble.
It's an inaccurate pitch there, and right there on top of the play, number 25, Darius Johnson. The other DJ Johnson. The other DJ.
They pitched it to Tyler Williams.
Pitch was a little short, so inaccurate. Forces him to go down too low to catch it.
Tyler Williams was a big-time dual-threat quarterback in high school. And he has switched to receiver. Wide open into the end zone. Go the Falcons and Alex Ludwig. The senior from Katy, Texas, who had a TD last year, matches his total. You said things would be wide open, Sid.
They are wide open.
Right.
When you can complete 11 balls in a game and have 5 or 6 touchdowns, which they could do with this offense because they run it so well. Again, play action in the backfield, you suck everybody up. They're just running wide open down the field. Ludwig wide open on the post route.
Just got to catch it and bring it to the house. So that's a 36-yard touchdown pass for Nate Romine. And the kick is up and good to make it 42-7. As Troy Calhoun told us about the passing game with Air Force. You don't have to throw it often. You just have to throw it well and get at least 8 to 9 yards per catch and convert at about a 60% clip. And Romine's been able to do that today for his head coach. And there's Carson Roberts, the backup, the senior from Houston, who looks like he's going to get in and get some time under center. But Nate Romine's had a nice game. Last year he had that upset win under center against then 21st ranked CSU. Started 5 games as a freshman. One of them was against Notre Dame, and Troy Calhoun said he was over his head a couple of years ago, but he was a freshman, only a junior now. And Roberts there, you see his backup, looking like he's going to get some time. 42-7. Air Force. Put a touchdown up in the first quarter and led 35-7 at the half.
Let's take a look at how we got this easy touchdown again. Secondary players looking in the backfield. This is your man here. You're going to watch as Ludwig comes off the football. The corner is going to peek in the backfield right there, and that's all it takes, and it's over with. When you've got a man, you've got to stay with your man. You've got 9 other guys, 10 other guys go make a tackle. You need to be in your man's hip pocket. Stop staring in the backfield.
6:16 to go in the third. Skillen's going to pass. Let's go down to the sidelines and bring in Torrey Holt. Torrey.
Well said. It's all starting up front because the Air Force offensive line is getting up into those backers. Those safeties are having to come down to fill, and as soon as they throw that play action pass, the field safety's down, the strong safety's down, and there's nobody back there.
Yeah, it makes it easy. Makes it easy, Torrey, when you can play action and throw to wide open guys, boy.
2nd and 10 for Skillen and the Bears offense. Going to throw it again, and this is picked off. Picked off, and Air Force is going to score on defense. That's Roland Latipo, the high school sprinter and wide receiver from Ohio, who was a special team star last year, and gets the start at cornerback and able to pick off Skillen here.
We talked about this with Coach Calhoun. Have you talked to your guys about playing the bubble screens? They want to throw the bubble screen to number 2, to the second receiver out there. It's a great read, and he hits Latipo right in the chest. Not a good job of blocking up front. But Latipo, I mean, you won't get an easier shot than that. Great job of recognition, seeing it before it happens, and, not being afraid to go make a play.
Good look at the 5'10", 185 junior. He's got speed. I mentioned a high school sprinter. Drew Early has been busy today with PATs. And he gets another one up to make it 49-7. For the Falcons, talking about being multi-dimensional. They've done it all offensively, special teams, and now with a pick 6 from Latipo.
So it's nice and cool for everybody. And they couldn't be more happy with the way their Falcons are playing this afternoon.
It's kind of been how things have gone for Troy Calhoun. 8-0 in openers. And Air Force, by the way, is 19-0 all-time against FCS teams. And holding a 49-7 lead with 6:05 to go here in the third quarter at home.
Talking about that interception for a touchdown from Latipo. It's the first one they've had here since 2012. Another Root Sports game where we had New Mexico at the Air Force Academy. Alex Means picked off a screen pass, took it 65 yards. Defensive tackle getting some love. First interception return for a touchdown. I mean, that's huge. This time it came from the secondary.
There's Latipo, so the defense is back on.
They want more.
And when you talk to Lee Hull about, would you make a change at quarterback? And he said, I I don't like to do that. You were a QB. Your quarterback's your quarterback, right?
Let him play it out, man. He might learn some valuable lessons throughout this game that can help him the rest of the season.
And he is running up the middle for a tough 3 yards.
This is about a Claude Alexander on the tackle. This is about a tough defense and organized defense as he's going to see throughout the year. So for him to stay in there and battle it out, grind it out, get good experience, it's going to be huge to pay dividends for him once they get into conference play.
Lee Hull coaching up his team on the sidelines. Lee is kind of a disciple of Randy Edsall at Maryland, Mike Riley, who's now at Nebraska, and Mark Duffner, who was his coach at Holy Cross, and is now a Dolphins coach, coaches linebackers, as that's incomplete. Let's highlight Alex Hansen, the captain, on the defensive line for the Falcons.
One of the only guys to get some playing time as a freshman. We see him being handled there, but he continues to work. You see the good get off, not able to get home, still hustling. Not able to get there, and then finally able to break through, continues to work. He's able to give the little kiss to Moses. Skilling on the pass block.
Now Hansen is listed at 6'3", 260. Joshua Miles, the big freshman, is 6'6", 290 on that side screen play.
Skilling's pass intended for Mark Brown is incomplete. Penalty flag on the play.
And they're going to late shot there. I believe they're going to get Lachlan Dietz.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 54. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down. That is number 54's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
We're talking about Alex Hansen, and he told us about how nobody really wants to play the Falcons.
I think we just want to be a team that no one wants to play. I think that's we just want to be tough kids and, win football games. But, for me personally, I want to be a team that no one really wants to play.
They've been proving that today, up 49-7. And a little bit of a reverse Fisk. He's got a lot of room and a lot of speed and gets the first down as he gets out at the 45.
This is a well-designed play, and on the backside, it takes a long time. If you're Brian Gentry, you've got to hold on to your block back there as long as possible to allow your man to come all the way back around. Well-designed, speed option right, and they flip it.
Let's go down to the sideline. Story has more on Ricky Fisk.
Yeah, Coach Lee Hull called him the best athlete on the team. And during the scout team preparation for the Air Force offense, he decided to put Ricky Fisk as his scout team quarterback to try to simulate the speed of this Air Force offense.
They're going to go up top looking for Fisk, and it's overthrown by Skillen.
Well, you see his speed there, but there's some miscommunication going on, and these two guys have played quite a bit of football together. He runs a post, Skillen throws the fade route. Middle of the field is wide open, so they had an opportunity again, another missed opportunity and chance to make a big play for the Bears.
So Fisk is going to head off to the sidelines. There he is from Port Arthur, Texas. The Bears are going to get up to the line. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 10. Skillen, quarterback draw.
Ball's out.
Boy, that hard hit knocked the ball out. And it looks like a turnover is going to go the way of the Falcons. It's number 34 with the football.
DJ Dunn Jr. He takes shots. He's got good ball security there, but right here it gets ripped out by number 44, Grant Ross. Rips it out of there. That's a great play by Ross.
And Ross got the first hit. So Claude Alexander, the third, got in there too, and then the recovery by Dunn. So Romine is out. And Carson Roberts is now under center, as the Falcons are going to make some changes with 4 minutes and change left to go in the third quarter. There's Carson Roberts.
Senior, so he's been around. You're not going to fool him with much.
Going over to the sidelines already for the play call. Air Force up 49-7. And they're going to pitch it to the right side for a first down run. So that's Ryan Driscoll. We were told that we'd see a number of guys with that option at tailback.
Again, you get the nice lead block out front by Tyler Williams.
It's the 21st first down for the Falcons. Wow. We're not even through the third quarter. Roberts up the middle, handoff underneath. And that's that kind of game they want on first down.
3, 4, maybe 5 yards. Whitaker on the tackle again.
Everybody getting into the game now. Under 3 minutes to go here in the third. 2nd and 4 for the Falcons. And it's Driscoll, right side. It's got the first down and more. They're just running hard.
Running hard, making good decisions at the point of attack with the pitch. It's just amazing how you could throw guys in and just keep on plugging, keep on moving.
So another first down and counting for Air Force. And a big hole. Tripped up and getting down to about the 15. Air Force won 10 games last year and a bowl game, and they had a couple of big upsets during the course of their 10-win season. You love that run by Jacoby Owens against Boise State.
Love the finish there. Weston Steelhammer put himself on the map with 3 interceptions as they knock off Boise State. At the end of the year, they knock off the 21st ranked Colorado State Rams.
And Devin Rushing gets a carry. Yeah, that's his name, Devin Rushing, who has had some time here at Air Force. Had an ankle injury in 2014. There's Hester on the carry. Falcons keep marching on. The clock keeps running. 1:35 and counting here in the third. First and goal from the 6. It's Hester, the running back to the right. And a few more hard yards. Saw Deshaun Summers, senior from Hampton, Virginia, who was in on that tackle. 2nd and goal. And it's Hester, and Hester's in the end zone. So Falcons continue to do what they do best. Pound it on the ground.
Only the numbers will change.
Right.
They're going to continue to beat you up and pound away at you.
Mike Thiessen, their offensive coordinator, was a QB here 15 years ago when Fisher DeBerry was here. And he wanted to throw it around. And Fisher DeBerry said, it's not what we do. That's not what you're going to do. And even if he still wants to throw it around, it's not going to happen. They're just going to do what we just saw. Like you said. Different numbers, different guys, but the same plan. Yeah, and results.
Listen, it just makes it easy when you do need to throw the ball because guys are running so wide open. When you can dominate the line of scrimmage on first down, get 4+ yards on first down each and every drive, that puts the defense at such a disadvantage. And
Well,
they've been
here are the numbers
great today.
For Romine. He's out of the game. He was 4 of 7 for 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. I know one of those 7, Robinette,
dropped.
Yeah, just bumbled it.
He dropped. You can go ahead and say
that's
it.
a drop. So he should have been 5 of 7 for 100, almost 130 yards. Yeah,
very efficient. Right? I mean, that's what you want. But when you can run the football and have the kind of success, it makes it so easy to go out and carve guys up in the passing game.
That's Steve Russ on the left. Steve Russ is the defensive coordinator for the Falcons. And if you're a Broncos fan, you should know his name from the Super Bowl teams because he was a linebacker. I go back almost 20 years with him now. I was part of the Broncos radio team.
He came up at the meeting yesterday and talked to you.
Great guy, Air Force graduate. Let's stay talking about the Mountain West. For our fans in the Rocky Mountain region today, Savannah State.
Yes. Be interesting to see how they fare this year. I mean, they've got a lot of talent remaining. However, when you lose your signal caller who's had a great a season as
Lamont Brown on the carry, gets strung out, maybe got back to the line of scrimmage on the right side.
As old number 18 did for him last year, that makes it rough.
Yeah, Garrett Grayson was a special guy too. He was a smart guy, obviously, drafted by the Saints. And made things happen up in Fort Collins. It's kind of one of the stories of the Mountain West, the signal callers.
Yeah, I think this is one of those years where I don't want to say it's down, but there are a lot of unproven quarterbacks in the Mountain West this year.
Skillen rolled to his left, and he got clobbered and taken down. And a big play for the defense.
Steve Brosey, junior out of Fort Myers, Florida.
There you go, 4th sack of the day for the Falcons defense. And that sack is how the third quarter is going to end. 7-0 after 1 for the Falcons, 35-7 at the half. And as we head to the fourth quarter, it's been all Flyboys. They lead it 56-7 in their season opener here at Falcon Stadium. They've done it every which way to get into the end zone. For our Delta touch of the game, you want to get Garrett Brown a lot of touches if you can.
Absolutely, it makes the first man miss, and then he's able to get out in space, and good blocking by his teammates. And you see the quick feet, the finish. I'll tell you, if you can get him 15 touches a game, you're going to have some positive things happening.
Skillen is flushed out, pulls it down, going to run, and able to pick up some yards on third down. But that's going to bring up another punting situation for the Bears.
John Floor makes the tackle. He's just a little hesitant to throw the ball, and sometimes, even when you don't think it's right there and open, you've got to give your guys a chance to make a play for you. I mean, how many times have we seen him drop back and then start to throw and then pull it down? You got to cut it loose.
You just throw it up.
You got to cut it loose sometimes, especially on 3rd and long. If you get a guy to intercept it 35 yards down the field, it's as good as a punt.
Right there. This one's going to bounce, and Oregon State's going to be able to bring it down. It's Eric Alvis on the coverage on special teams. So here comes Air Force back on offense. We'll see what new numbers and names we can show you.
Well, Ronald Cleveland was in there on that return, a freshman.
I think we just saw Derek Lewis, one of the new coaches, the wide receivers coach, even though he was a tight end by trade.
Hey, route running is route running. Blocking is blocking.
So here's a run by Air Force. And pick up some yards on first down.
Duty Tyson with the carry off the left side there, and Pate Davis in at QB. Good wholesale substitutions.
Carson Roberts didn't get a whole lot of time, did he? So Pate Davis is in. Second down and 4. This run's going to push around the stick and fall short. Davis is a junior from Texas. Washington on the tackle for Morgan State. Falcons quick under center. 3rd and 2.
Trying to play with a pace all afternoon. They've tried to continue with a high up-tempo pace.
Davis, a little pitch. This is Cleveland's got the first down. That's Ronald Cleveland, who's just a freshman from Franklin, Tennessee. There's Cleveland.
Very, very few opportunities for freshmen to get out on the field, so he must be highly thought of and a mentally tough kid to go through everything they have to go through as freshmen to be able to be out on that field.
Davis with another handoff. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the rigors of being a cadet. And as a freshman, it includes basic training. Air Force now with over 300 yards rushing. During Troy Calhoun's time here, this is his 9th season, they've averaged 290 a game over the years with Calhoun as the head coach.
It's just a flat-out belief in something, a belief in running the ball.
There's another first down for the Falcons.
Hardrick. Mike Gaynor on the stop.
That's Lacoste, actually, who got that run, Jake Lacoste. First down, Lacoste going to go on the left side and run behind his offensive line. Delonte Jennifer makes the tackle for the Bears. Let's show you this offensive line with Troy Calhoun. You noticed that there were a few, maybe 270s there, and you said, hey, guys might be getting a little bit bigger.
They are. They're getting a little bit bigger. It was 255 a few years ago, 257. You see steadily 5 pounds increase each and every year. And to be that size here, to pass the fitness test, do all those things, it's pretty impressive for those guys.
Yeah, you got to remember those cadets, the big guys, the bigs if you want to call them that, they got to run a 7:30, a 7.5-minute mile. And they got to do 12 pull-ups.
Everybody has to do that.
Yeah, so you got to do that yearly.
Yes. So if you're a 6'7", 320-pound guy, if you're a freak athlete and you can do those things, come on down. However, it hasn't been very many of them.
Another handoff, and it looks like it's going to go to the house. This is number 41 with another rushing touchdown.
Timothy McVeigh, and had the huge hit on special teams earlier. And what does he do here?
Touchdown.
Takes it to the house. It's a big afternoon for that young man.
So McVeigh, who's from Lundhurst, Ohio, a 5'9", 110 sophomore.
Great fly sweep. Good job of pinning the defender inside. And he's got enough speed.
Luke Strabel with the point after, and with 10:22 to go, I wonder if the crowd's going to thin out a little, because on this run by McVay, Air Force is now up 63-7 on the Bears. Fun afternoon for the Falcons. Scoring on the ground, through the air, special teams, and even on defense. Latipo with that pick six. That was a fun play for the Falcons, up 63-7 in their season opener here in 2015. They've got high hopes, and you can see they've got a lot of talent across the board. May not be the biggest, but they're going to compete.
They're going to compete. Extremely smart in what they're doing, and it's been a really good afternoon watching these guys compete. I mean, they're down to some freshmen playing, sophomores playing, getting everybody reps, which makes this team better and much more deep.
With your parents being here, too, for Parents Weekend, it's got to be fun for the guys in blue. Not so much fun for the Morgan State Bears, as Ricky Fisk on the return will get it out to near the 15. They'll spot it at the 14. Let's talk a little bit about the history that Morgan State brings to the table. They've got 4 Hall of Famers. Len Ford, Leroy Kelly, Roosevelt Brown, and you should at least know the name of Willie Lanier, one of the top linebackers of all time, and a guy that is still involved as an alumni of Morgan State. And that's impressive. They had, at one point, 35 guys go to the NFL from 1960 to 1973 under Earl Papa Bear Banks, who at that point was one of the best coaches in the business.
Tradition, and they're trying to get that back.
Yeah.
They're trying to recoup that, getting alumni involved. It's a nice open field tackle.
King makes the catch. With more on that story about Morgan State, let's go to Torrey Holt.
Yes, Ed, you just touched on that about getting the alumni back involved. Lee Hall told us earlier in the week the first thing he said in the press conference was to get the alumni back involved, start inviting them back. Then he wrote a letter telling them that they can contribute 2 ways. One, monetarily, which of course is nice, but most importantly with their time and coming back, lending a helping hand at practice, being around practice, coming to the games, and helping these kids mature and end up as great young men after they leave Morgan State.
So important to reach back, and when you've got guys of notice and guys that have done some great things on the next level, when they can come back and provide that wisdom and those words, I mean, it's invaluable. You can't put a price tag on that when they can just come and be around the guys and, you know, little things, how to practice and how to be professional.
Yeah, Coach Holt's committed to that job. You know, this last year was only the second winning season for Morgan State since 1973. They won in 2002, and they won last year. And that was his first year. And he said, I didn't really know what to expect. I was new on the job. He'd been an assistant at various institutions and, you know, had been part of NFL and CFL teams. But that's that culture that you're trying to develop, and you know, it started last year with a winning year.
And the other thing is, not winning for so long, how do you handle success? How do you handle winning? How do you handle going to the playoffs for the first time in a decade? How do you handle that as a team when you come back, when you return? Then you have to deal with all this, with the, you know, the academic review, all those things. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going into it, going against what they're trying to do. However, they've got to keep the guys that are eligible and the guys that are ready to play. They've got to keep them focused and moving forward, trying to improve.
Yeah, and that process is ongoing for the Bears, and obviously they said they'll comply. We talked to the athletic director, Floyd Kerr, and that's what they're working on. Falcons will get the football again. Great day for the cadets. Stay to be at a football game and watch your school winning 63-7 in the fourth.
Kind of starts off really low and everybody's chanting, and then it like starts to build up and build up and build up, and everybody just starts throwing their Gatorades, and by about halfway through you can't see anymore because you just have Gatorade in your eyes. And the chant usually stops when nobody can breathe.
That's A.J. Reichel, who we asked about the celebration. That was just like, you know, a camera in the locker room after they beat Boise State. And that was his description. Fun. This is Lacoste on another run, bouncing around, another running back making some moves.
It's a really nice run. Set his blockers up nicely, had a spin move in there.
It's a flag of the play, and there's a Morgan State player on the field.
The Air Force has used 15 different ball carriers today.
Illegal block in the back. Number 18, offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Will still be first down.
15 different ball carriers. Did you hear me, Mark? You look like you're not surprised.
I'm looking at the scoreboard. It's 63-7.
15.
15 guys touch the ball.
Yep. I just wanted you to say it, so I knew you heard
15 guys ran the football today.
I just wanted you to say it.
63 points today, most scored by Air Force since they put up 72 in 2009 against Nicholls State. As we watch Morgan State's number 47 get up on his feet. It's Malachi Washington. Looks like he's got a bad right wheel. So 15, including 3 quarterbacks? Did Carson Roberts, or did they just hand off?
They hand it off. They're not even in the mix.
Now I'm going to run down the names for you. DJ Johnson, Benton Washington, Garrett Brown, Jacoby Owens, Scott Hester, Timothy McVeigh, Jake Lacoste. You counting?
Yep.
Brian Driscoll, Shane Davern, Devin Rushing, Ron Cleveland, somebody named Stafford, Tyler Williams, Nate Romine, and one other.
I think it's Austin Duty Smith.
Yeah, Duty Tyson.
Aubrey Duty Tyson.
Aubrey. That guy. Is that 15? Or more?
That's 15.
You know who wants to get a carry? Torrey Holt. You know that.
Torrey Holt would definitely take a carry.
And here's another run. Had a good hard run.
Duty Tyson shows you some strength and power off the edge.
He's a sophomore from down in Miami.
I'm lined up a tailback at 6 feet, 225 pounds. That's a load.
Under 7 to go here in the football game. 2nd and 2 now for the Falcons. This is Lacoste again. And I don't think we got the first down. Bears are going to force a 3rd down situation.
Good teaching moment. Aubrey Duty Tyson's the lead blocker on this. He has the kickout block of the end. He's not able to secure that block. Lacoste has to jump inside, cut inside to miss. Unable to pick up the first down.
One of the freshmen for the Bears, Mike Gaynor, out of Wilmington on the tackle. Still classic formation on the 3rd and 1, right up the middle. And Duty Tyson will get another first down.
You can't stop it.
You can't stop it, but how come, teams don't really run it? When you talk about when you think nationwide.
You have to have a feistiness. You have to have smaller guys. I mean, Georgia Tech runs it. They do a great job. You got to have guys that are fit for this offense and built for this offense. It's not built for everybody. You can't have a 6'9" tackle trying to run this offense.
So Jake Lacoste with another run. Dalen Williams on the tackle for the Bears.
Couple that with these guys being on the field so long, the altitude. I mean, they got to be just worn down.
Altitude of the Springs is what, about 7,200 feet above sea level. And run Lacoste. Ross is going to bring it out to the right and get another first down.
Air Force.
Air Force now over 500 total yards rushing and passing, pushing 30 first downs in the game. You know, said you bring that up. We talked about 7.5 minute mile, pull-ups, being fit, altitude, and the cadet schedule. It's no bargain when, you know, you're up at daybreak and lights out at 11.
You're physically fit.
And a lot in between, mentally too.
And mentally fit. More so than anything, more mentally fit.
And here's another run. This gets taken down. We'll show you some of the military school requirements as we talk about this. And the cadets, you see them here at the game. You get 8 semesters to graduate. There is no redshirt program. Troy Calhoun talks about that all the time, you know, including with injuries. Service time of 5 years after your graduation, and you can't transfer after reaching junior status without paying things back to the government. And we talked to, once you get through your first 2 years, those are the grueling seasons, the grueling years as a cadet, and then you kind of, Steve Russ said this, you can kind of finally reap the benefits of that hard work that you've put through.
Well, they put an investment in these players, and listen, when you...
Prior to the snap, ball start, offense, number 87, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
It's an appointment here. You're not paying for school. You're actually getting paid to go to school. So there's an investment that's being made into you. So after your junior year, I get that. I understand it.
And the enrollment here is 4,000. So like you said, that appointment, that's a privilege.
It is definitely a privilege.
And of course, we thank on this Labor Day, everybody labors, I know, but you know, our military labors around the clock so we can watch football.
So we can call a football game and enjoy a Saturday.
With 15 different
backs carrying the ball.
Backs carrying the ball for Air Force. Oh, make it 16.
No, that's McVay.
We've added one.
That's McVay. He's already been on there. We got 16 now? 16.
16.
Some kind of record.
It said Tam, and I was like, did that say Torrey? It didn't, though.
Did Torrey Holt get a play?
No, he didn't get it.
You didn't want to forfeit this game by sticking Torrey Holt in there.
2:40 and counting.
I'll tell you what, I don't want to carry. I want the ball on the perimeter on the outside. I don't want to go in there with those guys because they're huge. Stand next to Seth.
Jai Franklin on the tackle there for the Bears. I've stood next to Seth many times, and it's always crazy to think that he was a quarterback.
I know. Like 6'6".
No.
I'd run right at Stout. If I got the ball, I'd go right at Stout.
Stout would hit you in the knee somewhere.
He would.
Can't take him lightly. He's from Buffalo. You can't mess around with those guys from Buffalo.
Like Mark Kelso.
People think I'm from Jersey. I worked in Buffalo, but I got all those places covered.
And you got all your relationships really.
I did with football. Minute 47 to go. There's a timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. It's been a big day for Nate Romine. You just saw the starting quarterback of the Falcons. They are up 63-7 on Morgan State. This is a 56-yard, would have been a field goal attempt, but they decided to punt. And a fair catch at the 9. For the quarterbacks, Nate Romine and Carson Roberts for Air Force. See the uniforms the Falcons are wearing, by the way. The jerseys, Air Force word market numbers. It's a brand new custom font, but it's really inspired by what they use on the aircrafts. So they sort of tweak the uniforms, but basically just to look like what they actually fly in. And that's what they've done today to the tune of 63-7.
They've been flying for sure.
Yeah.
In all aspects. I mean, you get a defensive touchdown, special teams touchdown.
It's kind of, they want to remind you why each player is in uniform, inspired by the service to the Air Force. Handoff, Lamont Brown will get a yard.
Lamont Brown in the middle of the pile for the Bears.
Move the pile a little bit and move the sticks.
Come on, Coach. Let your senior quarterback come out here and chunk it around a little bit.
One of the Falcons slow to get up.
It's Moorhead.
Able to come off on his own power.
It's always a good sign. You don't want to see anybody at this juncture go down to an injury.
2nd and 9 for the Bears. Fisk in motion. Skillen rolls out. Has King, but he overthrows him. You see Skillen just, it's been a long day under center for Moses.
It really has, and you really don't have a lot of space into that boundary. You don't have a lot of space into that boundary to work that short corner route. Andrew King doesn't do enough to get it space for you. He's got to take it inside a few more steps, garner some more room to that sideline.
It's 57 seconds left, 3rd and 9.
Delay game.
And Skillen's going to run for the first down and take a big hit. Credit the senior.
You got to love his effort right now. I just don't want my quarterback that I'm going to have to rely on the rest of the season out there.
Beating Wyoming 14-0. They're in the 4th quarter. And there's a flag on the play.
Ball start. Offense, number 2. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's what hurt them early on in the game. Early flags and penalties at terrible times. Hurting yourselves.
The clock was running when the foul occurred. By rule, there's a 10-second runoff. Would the game clock operator please set the clock to 21 seconds? 21 seconds, please.
There's a little bit of a cheer from the crowd when they said, set the clock to 21 seconds.
It's going to be run on the whistle.
Thank you.
9 penalties on Morgan State.
We had 4 of those within the first 7 minutes of the game. I mean, that was...
Yeah, young team coming to West, coming to Colorado for the first time. Skillen's just going to air it out. And going to overthrow Kirby Linscomb. See if he gets another shot to air it out. So Lee Ho will head back to Baltimore. And Morgan State will get ready for their next opponent. They'll be on the road again at Illinois State next weekend. There's the run by Lamont Brown. And that'll do it here in the Springs. As you said, Air Force with Nate Romine at quarterback, impressing their head coach, Troy Calhoun, today with a 63-7 win.
It was an impressive performance. Great job all around. But both teams played hard, but Air Force just too much manpower, man, on the ground and open up those wide open passing lanes, and great job by the Falcons.
As we move ahead in Mountain West play, how do you see them competitively within the Mountain West? They're in a tough division.
They are in a tough division, but that tough division is lacking in quarterbacks. There's not a lot of quarterbacks on this side. Everyone pretty much has a new guy at the helm. CSU does. Boise State does. There's new guys all around. This is the most complete team coming back. Romine played a game last year, so he's got that experience. But this is the most complete team coming back.
Let's show you the final stats from the game, and you're going to see that Air Force was able to put up over 500 total yards and nearly 400 on the ground. They have more than the ground game, but this is what they do best.
Yeah, they do it very well. I mean, 47 rushes, 394 yards, 16 guys touch the ball. I mean, that is impressive when you can come out and just hand it off. We talked about the jerseys change, but the system stays the same, and they continue to get better.
Good day for the cadets. Good day for the cadets in the stands. It was Parents' Weekend. All around a great day for Air Force as they win it by a score of 63-7. For Sid Bonner, Torrey Holt, and our entire Root Sports crew. And the flyover, you can't beat that either. Mark Stout wishing you a good evening from Air Force in Colorado Springs. Again, the final score, the Falcons 63, the Morgan State Bears 7. Next Saturday, we'll have Eastern Michigan and Wyoming on the air here on Root Sports. I hope you join us next week.